Welcome back to the Fire You Carry podcast. As you guys know, we've actually said it a lot for a long time, but recently it has been difficult for Kevin and I to get content out. And we always feel bad when we miss a week. We hear from you guys, and we love the fact that that means something to you. Because if you didn't care when we missed a week, it'd be a little harder to keep pressing forward and doing this thing. But today, got a special treat for you. Kevin did a little solo episode, and it is short, which will disappoint some of you, and some of you will be happy about that. So, to each his own, but it's a good little episode. Some really good things to think about in there, and some good things to carry forward and work on. We appreciate you guys listening. Thank you for being in the audience. Enjoy.
It's Sunday and we wanted to get something out. I really enjoy this email from Jim Ramos. It's from Men in the Arena, and I get them and they come often, and he always has some very interesting things. Today, I just kind of wanted to go over this with you, is that he has this way of finding joy by understanding your purpose. And I think that's interesting. Because universally, a lot of believers know some verses, and he brings up a bunch of them to start this email off, that we can say truths from Scripture about who you are in Christ. Like, I am a child of God. I am saved by grace. I'm an heir of God. I am forgiven. I am a new creation. I am redeemed. I'm rescued from the darkness. I'm justified. I'm an overcomer. I am the salt of the earth. I am the light of the world. And it goes on and on. I am chosen. I am loved. I am clean. And so these are really powerful scriptures that many of us know. And a lot of Jesus followers can say this, but we don't know universally, like, how we are uniquely. I mean, that's who you are universally, but who are you uniquely? You specifically. And when God made you, like, he broke the mold. You're one of a kind. And no one can be who you are or do what you do. And I think it's very interesting when you look at every single person that I've met. They're all very unique. And he has this quote in here. It says, "What's in your hands?" In Exodus 3, it's famously known as the story with Moses and the burning bush, where God called Moses out of 40 years of obscurity to deliver to the Hebrews from the Pharaoh slavery. Moses makes several excuses, like we all would, why he was not qualified. He's not the guy. And God asked him, "What's that in your hand?" And today, this is what Jim Ramos says. It's like he's asking you the same question. What do your hands hold? What hand have you been dealt with? And if I'm honest, sometimes I think we got a bad hand, or somebody said, "Oh, this is just the hand that I've been dealt with." And that a lot of times become your identity. And to answer this question is like, who am I? And he uses an acronym called HANDS. It's your history, your abilities, your natural temperament and tendencies, your desires, and your spiritual gifts. That's what's in your hand. That's who you are uniquely. And we can kind of go over these things. And I think it's interesting to talk about your history, your hand that you've been dealt with. God never wastes a hurt. I love the promise in Romans 8:28. It says every believer should memorize it. And we know, and it says, and we know that God causes all things to work together for the good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. So I'm going to say this again. We know that God causes all things to work together for good. So we're currently in a war. We saw things that are going on in Iran and things like that. And sometimes you question these things, or cancer, or my friend's getting sick. But we know that God causes all things to work together for the good, for those who love God. So we might not understand it, but these things are happening for a reason. And that hand you're dealt with, I think, is meant to build your character so that you can help others. So let's go under A, abilities and talents. What can you do? Can you fashion metal? Can you catch fish? Can you craft things? Can you play an instrument? Are you loud? Are you funny? Can you fix stuff? Can you make things grow? But great. These are all awesome. We should put these things to use for the glory of God. You're not too old. You're not too young. And he gave you these specific abilities, right, and talents for you to use. And I think that we shouldn't put a we shouldn't put a cover on that lamp. It should shine, and you should use your abilities and talents as much as you can for his purpose. All right. N in hands is natural temperament and tendencies. He writes here, humanity is a kaleidoscope of temperaments. Simply, some are natural perfectionists, some are naturally driven, others are peaceful and go with the flow. Still others are social, life of the party types. Some are energized by people and some are drained. I'm definitely energized by people and my wife is drained. But I do like to retreat to the cave from time to time. These are many options to help you understand which are you. There's the Myers-Briggs, the DISC, the Florence Littler personality. And he emphatically suggests that you discover yours. Like, what is your natural temperament and tendencies? And then lean into that. That's who God made you. Some desires and passion. What's your passion? What ignites your fire? What is the fire you carry? What causes you to soar? What causes your heartbeat with fury? Augustine is often quoted as saying, love God and do as you wish. In other words, go all in for Jesus and follow your passions. The psalmist wrote, delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. God will give you the desires of heart if you seek him and go for it with undenying passion. And your spiritual gifts is the last one. A spiritual gift is given by God after salvation. When you get saved, God throws a party and gives us spiritual gifts. So go online and you can go online and sometimes churches will attend one and say, what are the gifts? And you can join some of those groups and some of your spiritual gifts. So I just think this is an interesting thing. 5 ways to find joy is look at the hindrances. So like, what is your history, your hurts, your habits, your hangups? Maybe we lean into those and say those things are purposeful, that God chose those things to be in your life so that maybe you can help others. What are your abilities and talents? We all have very unique ones. And are you using them? Are you using the talents that God gave you? What's your natural temperament and tendencies? And so maybe if you're not the outgoing person and maybe you don't do that, but maybe you find whatever your natural temperament is and lean into that. And your desires and passions. I think oftentimes people forget about these things, like what causes you to wake up, what causes you to get excited. And I think sometimes with work and marriage and kids, sometimes those things can take a back burner. But more recently, I've been definitely playing more music. It's been something that gives me joy, and I feel like God has given me a talent for that, and it brings me around people, which I love. So I'm going to do that more. Spiritual gifts is something that I'm still working on trying to figure out, and I think we all are, right? And I think sometimes I can get excited, and then sometimes I can get down, and so I'm using I'm leaning into trying to find out what the spiritual gifts that I've been given to see how I can help others go forward. So this is a short one. I just wanted to throw those out there of 5 ways of finding joy. I think after the beginning of the year, it was like new year, new me, and there were so many great things happening. And then all of a sudden we got down from the Fire Up program and it seemed like the world was on us. There was just a lot of chaos and drama and sickness, and it was hard. So I'm trying to get back to the basics of breathing, praying, exercising, getting in the word, spending time with friends and family, playing music, doing things that I'm passionate about. Yesterday we just went to the beach. I took all the kids and we just went to the beach and just spending some time in the water and with this beautiful sunshine. It was what I needed. And so I think that's some of the things that I find joy in. And I'm going to try to itemize those, schedule them, and make it part of my daily routine because we need to do these things. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that. It's a short one, and we'll see you next time. This has been the Fire You Carry podcast.
I'm going to do something a little bit different with this closing segment. I'm going to talk about myself instead of the Fire Up program. As you guys know, I mentioned it in the previous episode that Kevin and I did together. I spent really the entire month of February being sick. I'm not going to go into any details on that. I might talk about it on a future episode and give you some details but it was a really difficult month, and I was sick enough during the month that I didn't work out, and was just really struggling. I am feeling a lot better these past few days. I did work out this morning for the first time in weeks. Felt good. And yes, I put on my MyZone and got some MEPS. For those of you who know and listen to the podcast, it's a really big deal to me, especially that I didn't get my MEPS target in the month of February. It's the first time that's happened in 4 years. So that was a big blow to me, but it was just a reality where I was at. There was no way I was going to be able to do it. And that's a good life lesson for me too. I'm not going to go into detail on that. I might talk about it in a future episode, but for those of you that heard that and or have known, because we've been talking on the side, I just wanted to say thank you for your prayers and your just caring about that, and just let you know that I am feeling better, getting back into the swing of things. We've got some really cool stuff coming up with the program. Still managed to find a way to talk about it. Some stuff that's going to be really cool to share with you guys moving forward once we get it all rolled out. So thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.